Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy. My name is Mark, and on today's show, Shazam gets cast. Quentin Tarantino has some house guests, and Jigsaw, well, he gets a #1 trophy.
Also here, John Schnepp.
What's up? Hey, thanks to all the sweaties who came out to Stan Lee's Los Angeles Comic-Con. It was great seeing you come by the booth and coming to the panels. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
I was here, Mark Reilly.
Very excited to be here. It's almost Halloween, folks.
Yeah.
Favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
Well, it pretty much is Halloween at this point. I mean, everybody, like this weekend it felt like pre-Halloween, but then it also felt like, oh my God, then we still got to go through all this stuff on Tuesday when real Halloween is. Do you guys go to Halloween parties?
The Stan Lee's Comic-Con was like a giant Halloween party because everyone was dressed up. So I feel like, boy, I almost feel like I had like 3 days of Halloween. And now I'm watching Stranger Things, which is like set in the Halloween area. I don't want to give away any spoilers unless you've seen a trailer and then you know what's going on. I wonder why they're wearing Ghostbusters outfits. Figure it out. I'm probably going to go to maybe one.
Are you guys dressing up tomorrow? I just want to clarify this because I'm going to show up dressed up. And if no one else is dressed up with me, I'm going to be so sad.
Actually, I'm dressing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you going to be?
I'm not telling you.
Okay. That's good. It's exciting.
I'll dress up. I'll throw my hat into that arena.
Come on. Last year, Christian had to bring you a wig.
Was I dressed up? You didn't tell me how good the costume had to be. The fact that I dressed up, the fact that I gave the effort should be enough for me, for Ashley, and for all of you kids out there. We do have a whole lot of fun movie news to get to you later on today, but we also call the show Movie Talk, and for that reason, I'm going to report that veteran actor Anthony Rapp accused Kevin Spacey last night on social media and through a BuzzFeed article of being sexually inappropriate with advances back in 1986 when Anthony Rapp was just 14 years old. Kevin Spacey used the opportunity to apologize for actions that he may or may not have done, and he also used the opportunity to come out as a gay man who's been living with that for some time. And so you can feel however you want about Kevin Spacey's decision to come out in that way, but I don't want that PR spin to cloud the fact that Anthony Rapp does show a lot of bravery in coming forward with this. And regardless of how you feel about Kevin Spacey as an actor, it seems like a very creepy thing that he did a long time ago. I hope it was not a pattern, and if so, I'm glad that there's people like Rapp that are able to come forward against a lot of hurdles and say these things, because Kevin Spacey didn't do a great job of saying I'm sorry in my personal opinion. He did come out, and I'm sure that's a really tough thing that he's been living with for a long time, but the fact that this news is out there is something that I think we should have a conversation about out there on social media, and I think that these discussions going forward are important to shed light on. So that's why I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention today, in case you did miss it with all of the fun Halloween stuff that y'all were doing this weekend. And with that, we do want to move on to our first official news topic, which is a lot more fun because Shazam is a movie that we've been waiting for news on for a long time. There were rumors that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was going to be playing Black Adam, and that got confirmed, but we still didn't know a whole lot about it. We know some more stuff about it, and for that, we go to Ashley Mova.
THR reports that Zachary Levi has been cast as Shazam in DC's comic book adaptation, the title that is being helmed by Lights Out and Annabelle Creations' David F. Sandberg. Other actors that were considered for the role in the last few months included John Cena, who met with the director, and more recently, Derek Theler, Zane Holtz, Billy Magnussen, and Jake McDorman. No release date for Shazam has been set, but New Line is eyeing a February start of production in Toronto. Mark, what do you think of Zachary Levi's casting as Shazam?
Well, I'm not the biggest Shazam fan of the world, and truth be told, I wasn't really familiar with Shazam at all, and that includes my decade-long tenure being in comic book shops every Wednesday to get the new books. So Schnepp, I'm going to go to you first on Shazam because I'll say this about Zachary Levi is that I've gotten to know him personally a little bit. He seems like not only a very nice guy, but he also really embraces what it is to be a nerd and a geek in this new modern era when those are actually terms of endearment as opposed to terms that bullies use to take your lunch money.
Right.
So he's been at the forefront of that ever since he was cast as Chuck in the hit TV show. And then he has a bit part in the Thor movies. He clearly is a big voice at Comic-Con Comic-Con each and every year, whether it's through Nerd HQ or other opportunities. This past year, he was at Comic-Con working with Sci-Fi. So he actually had a show for a while, a game show called Geeks Who Drink, I think is what it was called. It was just all about the celebration of this kind of culture. So if for no other reason, I think that fans should be excited about Zachary Levi being cast as Shazam, because you know that he's going to embrace what it means to this, and that he's somebody who comes to this from a position of fandom, but also respect for the character.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Nice. But I can't help but laugh when I saw that photo. It's one of those things where it's like, if you're familiar with the character who was called Captain Marvel, then years later transformed into Shazam, Zachary Levi looks to me like Billy Batson. I mean, it's a little harder for me to, get over, especially with seeing these kind of photoshopped images of his face on some weird buff body. It's just goofy. Yeah, he's a giant nerd. He's a big geek. I think he ran Nerd HQ parties and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean, look, man, it's a dream come true for someone like any one of us to be involved in a superhero film, or get a chance to act in something or make something or direct something. So hats off to him for being cast as Shazam. I really don't know what to really think about it until I see more from it. I mean, look, like I've been talking about, John Cena would be a good Shazam, and I still think he would still be a good Shazam. They've cast Zachary Levi as Shazam. I don't know if he isn't going to be Billy Batson still. I haven't read the script, and none of us know. So, I mean, they're saying he's in a movie called Shazam. He could be playing Billy Batson, who's older now, and he was a kid when he was Shazam, and he hasn't turned into Shazam in many years or something. They could layer it up. They could do a really cool job with tricking all of us. It doesn't have to be the little kid turning into this corny do-gooder. It could be like a layered film, and also a little more lighter. I wouldn't mind seeing something a little more fun. I know all the trolls out there is like, stop saying Thor Ragnarok's fun. Well, F you, it's fun, and it's a great word to use because it's fucking fun. Fuck off. It's annoying.
Why
are you saying fun? It's like, well, you haven't seen the movie yet. Maybe you'll use that word after you come out of the theater. Anyway, I wouldn't mind Shazam being fun too, because everything about the Shazam comic book is fun. And so if you don't like fun, goodbye.
My favorite thing about that is that your whole salvo it was like you talking yourself into having Zachary Levi as Shazam. So you seem a little more positive on it than you were, say, 2 minutes ago.
Totally, because I had to see that photo first, get the laugh out. Look, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the same thing with like Nicolas Cage's Superman. You see that image and you're like, come on. And then you hear about what they were going to do with it in the background. Well, this isn't the same thing. They're actually making this. So I feel like, look, you have Sandberg in the director's seat. You got Zachary Levi playing a character in Shazam, whether he's Shazam or whether he's Billy Batson or whether he's both. I'm in right now until I see further otherwise, and I can't wait to see what they do once they start shooting.
Well, on Saturday, Zachary Levi issued a statement via his Instagram feed saying that he's honored and greatly humbled to be part of the DC Universe by bringing the original Captain Marvel to life. I'm beside myself with gratitude, not only for this opportunity, but also the incredible outpouring of love and support from so many of you out there in the world. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be in the gym for the rest of my life. So he's taking the role seriously, Reilly, and we've seen this before with somebody primarily known for comedy coming to a serious comic book movie role. Worked out okay for a guy like Michael Keaton. How do you think it's going to work out for Zachary Levi?
I think this is fantastic casting. I'm doing the eye test on this. I knew nothing about Shazam, and so when I hear all the reports, they say John Cena. It was like he was like the front runner, and I'm like, okay. I look at a picture of Shazam, then I put John Cena there. I'm like, yep, okay, that passes the eye test. Zachary Levi doesn't pass the eye test. I look at him and go, huh? But he's a great actor. He's a comedic actor. I do a little research on Shazam, and I go, that's different. That's really cool. They're doing something special. Just like you bring up Michael Keaton, I think of Heath Ledger. Everybody lost their mind over him as Joker. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, and then look at that. We got the best Joker we've ever had, ever. That's my opinion. So to put it in the same kind of discussion, Zachary Levi is Shazam, and I don't know the comic that well, but he's going to be in the gym forever, so he's going to get bigger. He's got the acting chops for it. This is fantastic casting. It really is. It's different. It shows that DC is taking a chance. They take a chance on David F. Sandberg. The guy made Lights Out and then Annabelle Creation. And Annabelle Creation was such a surprise that it was so good. It was really good. So I can't wait to see what Sandberg's going to do with the property. And now you got Zachary Levi. This just sounds fun. Fun. and interesting. And I think that it's a great move by DC.
Yeah, actually, it almost seems like the John Cena versus The Rock would have been so interesting for a lot of people, but maybe DC wanted to get away from having two people who are known from their professional wrestling background to be involved in a movie like this.
Yeah, because I don't know much about Shazam, when you throw names out there like The Rock and John Cena, my mind starts to go one way, and then you say Zachary Levi, and I'm a little bit confused. And then, you know, with the director of Lights Out, Annabelle creation, I start to think of maybe horror, but I'm excited to see this, I guess, a comedic movie for him. I'm guessing it's going to go down the comedic route. And based off of that, was it a tweet or an Instagram update?
Instagram.
Seems like a funny guy, so I'm excited to see how it comes out.
Well, back in July, it was reported that Shazam was going to be the next DCEU movie to start filming, and whether that is still the case or not, because there's been a whole lot of announcements from the DC camp, some of which we take very seriously. Some other ones we're like, wait, you're going to do that with the Joker movie? It's going to be, which universe is this in? So I think that if Shazam is going to be the next movie that they really try to ramp into production, this is a good way to start by announcing who one of the stars is. So Zachary Levi is going to be in the new Shazam movie. He's going to be starring in it. And now we move on to Charles Manson.
Yeah. According to a report from The Wrap, after parting ways with the Weinstein Company, Quentin Tarantino is shopping his film about Charles Manson to some major studios and forcing executives to go through a very complicated process in order to bid for the new film. The companies include Warner Brothers, Universal Pictures, and Paramount, and Tarantino is having each executive drive over to his agents at WME to read the script, after which his agents present deal points that will allow the studios to bid for the theatrical rights. After the bids are in, insiders for The Wrap then say a second round of discussions take place where the studios pitch to Tarantino directly on how they will market and distribute the film. Reilly, what do you think about Tarantino's plan to distribute his Charles Manson film?
I love that he's making them jump through hoops. This is great. This sounds awesome, and good on, you know, Quentin Tarantino came out and said he's not going to work with Weinstein anymore and damned him and all this kind of stuff. So we're moving past that now, and he has all these major studios interested, as they should be. This is Quentin Tarantino, and so he's making sure that it finds the right home. And as a true crime lover, Ashley Mova, I know you are too. This is so, I can't wait to see what he does with a Charles Manson movie. When this was announced, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. I can't wait to see this movie. So I'm glad he's looking for the perfect fit, because whoever gets this will probably be talking Oscars when it premieres, whenever that may be, whether it's best writing or a best actor for whoever plays Charles Manson, or best directing. This is a great thing, and Tarantino is taking it seriously.
Yeah, Schnepp, I think it's hilarious that Quentin Tarantino, this is like buying property in Seattle right now. You have to put in a bid, then you have to wait, then you have to see if you get to go to round 2 of it. It's a complicated process, but it makes all the sense in the world, not just because Tarantino feels like he got burned by the Weinstein Company, and so he wants to personally vet everybody that's going to be coming into his project, but also because the Hateful Eight script got leaked. Way back when people were considering which studio to put it out there. And I think that he feels a very personal connection to the story for whatever reason. That remains to be seen. I like that he's putting people through these hoops, because if you want this flick, and it could be a studio, it could end up being a Netflix or Amazon situation. I don't know if they're going to be one of the people bidding on this. I would guess somebody like Q would prefer to have this be a theatrical release and do it the way that he wants to make it. He's always been a big honk when it comes to loving the theater experience versus digesting anything on home for the first time. How do you feel about all of this heavily involved process with the studios?
Well, I mean, you brought up, like, you know, the streaming services like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. They'll all do a theatrical release for Tarantino. So I wouldn't say that, you know, they're the new model. So literally, and they're the companies with all the money, and all the companies that don't have the money are the actual companies that used to have the money. So it's everything is kind of flipped right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he made a deal with Amazon where they release his film shot in 70 millimeter and it plays in theaters for a month and then debuts exclusively on Amazon. So I mean, those are the kinds of things I'd like to see. I love that he's doing this. This reminds me of a lot of other kind of like gimmicky type things you hear that didn't work, but it should work this way, and it's not a gimmick. This was like sort of, remember when Halo was being marched around with the Master Chief, and he delivered us, you know, the script, and you have 2 hours to put your bid in. This is like that was like very like, theatrical in it, and then this is like, come to my house, read my script. Here's what I want. Here's the deal points. Then if you pass the muster of what I want to do with my film, then we'll go to round 2. I think it's great that he's in the control seat. He's in the cockpit, and that's the way it should be.
It does show cockiness, and I like when art gets confident and cocky occasionally, that you have to come to Tarantino's agents and you have to sit down and then you read the script. And as soon as you're done reading the script, you get a little time to talk amongst yourselves, and then you have to present the deal points. So you must have a lot of faith in what you just wrote to have all of these people coming over, read it, then immediately have to make a bid on it.
Well, what's great? It's not like, here, get my script reader, read it. Sorry, can't do that. So they have to have their top agents.
I want to watch your eyes move from the left side of the page to the right side of the page every time before you're done, and then you have to bid on it.
And then we're going to discuss it to make sure you didn't chimp out and not read it. So, bam.
Ashley, do you think this is too much for a Charles Manson movie, or as a true crime fan, do you feel like this is right on par?
It is just right, and I love the examples you guys are giving, because I love the hoops that he's making people jump through. If this is done correctly, this can snowball into a bunch of different true crime movies that come out if it does really well. So I am so excited for this, and it just makes me so excited that the script is probably fabulous.
It might be a fabulous script, and it's a fascinating story.
Do I sound psycho right now that I'm so excited for this?
I think the world is psycho right now because of how popular all these true crime, all the podcasts, and all the stuff on TV. It's like you can't make fictional crime exciting anymore. It's like real people have to die now so we can get entertained by it. Let's just all pump the brakes and enjoy sometimes when a fictional thing happens and it didn't affect anybody in real life.
This is more exciting.
All right. Well, speaking of creepy people who love doing weird, twisted things, Jigsaw has a movie, How to Do.
It's Monday and time for the weekend box office report. With an estimated $16.25 million, Jigsaw opened in the #1 spot, delivering the 7th best opening of the franchise's 8 films. Lionsgate also finished in the #2 spot with Tyler Perry's Boo 2: A Medea Halloween, which brought in an estimated $10 million, pushing the film's domestic total over $35 million after 10 days in release. Warner's Geostorm took the #3 spot with an estimated $5.67 million, as the film's domestic total now stands at $23.5 million after 10 days in release. Universal and Blumhouse's Happy Death Day brought in an estimated $5 million for the #4 spot, with Blade Runner 2049 taking the #5 spot with an estimated $3.9 million, as its domestic total now climbs to $81.3 million. Schnepp, thoughts on the weekend box office report?
Well, it's weird when you have your top movies and most of them suck. It's like, sorry. I mean, you know what? I mean, I'm glad to see that Blade Runner's hanging in there and people are still going out to see a movie that deserves to be seen. Geostorm, no comment. Jigsaw, I didn't see it yet. I can't wait to see Happy Death Day. That's the one I'm really excited to see. So I'll probably see that this week. Happy
Death Day is now $48 million in its domestic total. It costs $4.8 million for the total production budget. Suburbicon is the big story to me because it made $2.8 million on over 2,000 screens, which is not a huge opening, though it is still considered a wide release. Like the huge movies, Thor Ragnarok is going to open in twice that many theaters, but Suburbicon still, you'd figure with the clout like George Clooney and the Coen brothers and Matt Damon, who didn't have the best PR week last week, still leading up to Suburbicon, I thought that it would have made a little bit more of a dent, but the Rotten Tomatoes score wasn't great. I thought it was just an okay movie. I've never been a huge fan of Clooney directing dark comedy like that, so maybe that just, it didn't work out for people going to the movies in general. It's also Halloween, or it's Halloween pre-weekend, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So that's why Jigsaw did as well as it did. I think that's why that you released Boo 2 around this time of year. So good for those movies to capitalize on what the market will bear, on who their audience is, and getting out at the right time, Reilly. People want to see a good horror movie.
Yeah. So why is Jigsaw #1 then?
Boy.
Yeah, sorry.
Not a fan, huh?
Wasn't a fan of it.
Were you excited going? I know you and Ashley were both like talking about it last week, so you get into the theater and you're pretty pumped about it.
The first Saw is brilliant. It is. It's a great horror movie, and then it went downhill immediately with the second one, in my opinion. I didn't really like it. Then they tried to do all these convoluted things to keep the killer around, and they tried again with Jigsaw. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was just kind of an uninspiring horror movie. But it shows that the audience wants to be a good scare on Halloween. Next year, we're going to have actually Halloween. John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis and Blumhouse are going to bring that back. So we'll be talking about Halloween next year. But for this, I wanted something more. I would have loved to seen something more inspired. That's my Jigsaw talk. I look at Blade Runner, that is still hanging in there, like you said, Schnepp, and I hope it continues to hang in there. But still, international total of, what is it, 142 million is not that great. Right. So I still am hoping people go out and keep seeing this movie and keep it in the top 5 as long as possible, because this is a brilliant movie. I need to see Happy Death Day as well. That's one that I would love to see. Maybe a Halloween movie.
It's a
go
fun
out
movie.
And see
it's a good Halloween movie. I will personally stay home, try to avoid children at all costs, and finally catch up on Stranger Things 2. Here's a fun note: is that coming in at number 10, but only missing out on the top 5 by $1.5 million. The movie's doing well. People wanted to go see it this weekend. Ashley, you get in the theater, and you're there. Your boy Jigsaw. He's going to be back on the big screen, and you're just so excited for this moment. You had your Jigsaw jersey, you had a Saw pennant, and what happened?
That's exactly how it went. Man, I had high hopes, and I actually saw it yesterday, and when it was doing well, on previous days, I figured, this is going to be great. As someone whose favorite movie is Saw, the first Saw, what a letdown. Yeah. Honestly, what a letdown. Everything I loved about the first Saw was just completely missed in this movie. Damn, that sucks. But what I can say is, though, good for Happy Death Day. I thought it was going to be a movie that I just saw and people made fun of, which is like basically every movie I see. But it was a really fun time at the movies, and I'm glad that it's doing well. What happened to All I See Is You, that Blake Lively movie?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Hasn't come out yet?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because, that wasn't on the top 5. I thought it came out.
Nope.
All right.
Not yet, but you do have some movies coming out this weekend. So if you're out there and you love the box office and you want movies to be seen in theaters, just take a deep breath. You get Thor Ragnarok this weekend. You also have the Bad Moms Christmas movie, which I think is going to be a sneaky hit. The first one was hysterical. It was a great surprise in the summertime when it came out, so I'm looking forward to this one as well. I think we have a screening of it tonight, so more on that in just a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to go on to Buy or Sell. This is a part of the show where Ashley is going to give us a premise, and then we'll use some of our tax refund money to pay Ashley if we buy it. Then she can use that for her tax payments.
Is that a write-off?
That's totally a write-off.
Okay, yeah, it has to do with work, right? According to Deadline, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and Richard Donner are all meeting with Warner Brothers to discuss the possibility of doing another film in the Lethal Weapon franchise.
What?
The trade reports that Donner would direct with Channing Gibson, writer of Lethal Weapon 4, penning the script. Though there are a lot of moving parts for the movie to make it to the big screen, including scheduling and salary negotiations, Deadline's report says that Gibson, Glover, and Donner are all interested and willing to make the movie should they all agree on the direction of the script. Mark, buy or sell a possible Lethal Weapon 5?
Oh, boy, Ashley, that's a tough one to ask me because I love the Lethal Weapon movies. I think all 4 of them are really fun action buddy comedies. It's one of the films that set the template for what we know as the modern buddy comedy. The show, which I've never seen, apparently does well. A lot of people watch it. I wonder if they would try to involve that script with the TV show, or they're trying to keep them separate universes. In any event, I got to sell this. And I don't like the fact that I am selling it so easily, but as soon as I read it, it just seems like we had our chance, guys. We had our window, and a lot of stuff went down with Mel Gibson for the last 10 or 15 years that nobody wanted to touch him, and for that reason, which I agree with to some extent, that we probably should not be trying to crank out a new Lethal Weapon movie. I think that now enough time has passed to where I can have Mel Gibson in movies again. If I'm Richard Donner, or if I'm anybody else involved with this possible Lethal Weapon 5, I'm keeping an eye on Daddy's Home too, because Mel Gibson is in that. I want to see his performance, but I also want to see how that flick does at the box office, because when you add in a Mel Gibson, you're looking for some sort of comedic value in that movie, but you also want to see if that helps move the needle in a positive or negative direction as far as people wanting to go see a movie like that. I just think that Lethal Weapon had its day. They're 4 great movies. You can celebrate till the end of time. I don't think that we need a 5th installment. I really like the 4th one, too, so I was happy to see them back again. I just think it's a little too late, Reilly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I sell it as well, especially after Lethal Weapon 4. They all said this is the last one. Lethal Weapon 4 was made because they're like, okay, one more, and then they had fun, and then the end credits is like this family photo album showing all the movies and all the cast and how it was nice, put the bow on it and put it to bed. Now it's like, really? You're going to go back and do this? I don't know. Unless there's a story that captivates me and you know, I'm kind of with you on the whole Mel Gibson thing and seeing Daddy's Home 2 and seeing what that does, but I'm not clamoring for a Lethal Weapon, and I don't think today's audiences are. But unless they might be looking at, Warner Brothers might be looking at the fact that the TV show is doing fairly well, and they go, oh, the brand is still there, so let's get the old team back together and go for it. I just don't see, I feel it forced, and how many times are they going to do a movie, like revisit nostalgia, and it fails miserably at the box office because nobody wants to see this?
Schnepp, you removed the glasses for this buy or sell.
I totally can't wait to see the shared universe of Lethal Weapon. It's a shared together, the TV show and the movie. I buy it. No, I don't.
Oh, the glasses are back on. Oh, he regained his senses.
It's a ridiculous money grab. It's pathetic and sad. I'm not in.
Okay, so you don't want to see Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop both come back and be one big shared universe with Axel Foley and
that.
Riggs
I would see that. A Beverly Hills Lethal Weapon. A lethal Beverly Hills.
Okay, look,
cop.
What if Richard Donner?
Lethal Beverly Hills Cops.
I'm not pitching that movie.
Okay,
maybe I kind of am.
Beverly Hills Lethal Weapon.
Beverly Hills Lethal Weapon.
Yes,
Police
Beverly Hills
officers.
Lethal Weapon.
You should be like really unwieldy.
Richard Donner and Janet Gibson, they get together and they're like, hey, let's just hang out for a week and let's write this Lethal Weapon script and just see where it goes. Is there any way that Mel Gibson and Danny Glover make the movie if it's less than perfect? Like, do you think that they want to make a great Lethal Weapon movie, or do you think that regardless of what they barf out onto the page, they're going to want to do just to get that last run at a bunch of money?
Mel Gibson, his character is in jail. Danny Glover's character is in a retirement home. And then some crazy stuff happens to their friends who are the Lethal Weapon TV kids or whatever. I haven't seen that show yet. Okay. And then they get out of retirement and they have to break out. I can't think of it. It's horrible. I'm not up for writing one. So,
Reilly, can you come up with a premise that would make Lethal Weapon 5 palatable?
The retirement home is a nice.
It's horrible. It's the most basic cliche bullshit. Don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be retired, and then something brings them back. Joe Pesci, we can barely get Joe Pesci in The Irishman. He ain't coming back for Lethal Weapon 5.
No. Yeah.
He said, he gave the finger to Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese's on his hands and he's like, I'm begging you to come back.
He's finally like, all right, fine, I'll do your Irishman. You know, because it's a great Goodfellas and you know, reunion of sorts, and then they're putting Al Pacino in, so I can see that. How many Subway sandwiches are you gonna have to give Joe Pesci to get him to do Lethal Weapon 5?
5 billion.
Because they always F you at the drive-thru when he asked for the tuna salad. Anyone? That's Lethal Weapon 2.
That's what I was right.
Lethal Weapon 2. Check it out. I can't find a story that would make me care because it feels right on the page. It just looks like, you know, a cash grab, like you said, Schnepp. Like, why are they doing this again?
Ashley, let's say that you're in a movie theater to go see Jigsaw 2 because you just can't get enough of the franchise,
yeah,
right?
I love it.
And one of the trailers is for Lethal Weapon 5. Do you see that trailer and you're like, oh, good for them? Or do you think, what is this?
No, I think this is BS. How is Mel Gibson still a thing? I don't understand how this is okay. No, sell this times 1,000. Mel Gibson, goodbye.
But you're saying goodbye to Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
There's no way that Danny Glover can come back and Lethal Weapon 5 with somebody else.
He can't hang by himself now.
Okay, well, Lethal Weapon 5, hey, good luck to you. We're rooting for you. Put in Axel Foley, and we'll talk. All right, let's go to our last buy or sell.
Sony Pictures has released a new behind-the-scenes featurette for Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. In the new movie, 4 teenagers are sucked into Jumanji's world, pitting them all against rhinos, black mambas, and an endless variety of jungle traps and puzzles. Bad Teacher and Sex Tapes Helmer, Jake Kasdan, directs the movie that stars Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. It debuts in theaters on December 20th later this year. Schnepp, buy or sell the behind-the-scenes featurette for Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Man, this behind-the-scenes thing is so much fun. I just had so much fun watching this behind the scenes.
Bad word.
I know. I feel weird about using it. Man, this is so much fun. I don't know what other word to use, but fun. No, seriously, it's a lot of fun. This thing is so much fun. I don't know any other kind of word. Let me think if I can think of one. Fun is what I would use to describe this behind the scenes. I actually really want to see the movie now. This, not all joking aside, this trailer, this thing that they put together is, what do you think?
Enjoyable, maybe.
Enjoyable.
Filled with mirth.
Yes.
Reilly, welcome to the jungle.
Yeah. I can't. Are you serious? I'm trying to play
No,
off
I'm
it.
dead serious.
Okay.
I really did enjoy it. I want to see the movie now.
I'm with you. I buy this. I wasn't really interested in this that much. I thought the previews, the trailers were kind of like, okay, cool, but this just kind of gave me a little bit more, and I'm like, this actually looks like a fun movie. Yes, but it does. It looks, God damn it, Schnepp.
I'm gonna ban 2 F words from this show. If you guys aren't careful, you're just throwing around that F word.
All right. I buy this. I'm looking forward to the movie. This sold me. It sold me.
It looks fantastic.
That's a good effort.
Okay.
I appreciate what you were able to do there. Ashley, we sat down and we were hoping to have the F word with 3 letters watching this without using that swear word. What did you feel about the featurette?
This is really difficult for me to not use that F word, but I thought it was effing hilarious.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun watching this. When I first heard that this was coming out, I didn't know how I felt. I really loved the nod to Robin Williams that we got in there. Jack Black is so funny in this. I know it's like cheesy or whatever, playing that girly character, like I can't even right now. I thought that was so funny. And I feel like they have such chemistry, especially Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, the chemistry between them is what is selling me right now, because if it was just a movie with Jack Black and he's playing the like inner female character, but the outside looks like Jack, I think that would have really gotten old after 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But when you have The Rock and you have Kevin Hart and you have Karen Gillan all in this adventure together, it looks like a lot of fun. I totally agree with Ashley. I love the shout out to Robin Williams. I love The Rock talking about how much the original Jumanji meant to him, which is an audience. Now we're thinking, oh, well, then they really care about this. This is not the time or the place to get into this, but there's something that happens deep inside my soul whenever I hear the opening guitar riff to Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
There's just something that comes alive inside me. The rest of the song is really good. I like it, but you hear that, and it's just like there's wolves that live inside me, and they hear it, and they start howling at the full moon whenever it doesn't matter what time of day, what time of night, where I am in the world.
Yeah.
I hear that / opening, and it's like, oh, it's time to fight crime.
Yeah.
I cannot get enough of it. I'm sure a lot of people see that and they're like, oh, they're using the song. It's a great song. Woo!
It's the best use of that song that I've ever seen that song used in like any kind of commercial or movie. It's like, it really works with this. And the other thing I wanted to add is I love the premise of how they're kids trapped in this like video game world where they've like inverted Jumanji. And it really comes through in this behind the scenes, like all the different characters and the ones that they're playing, like even The Rock's like super puncho, but he's like, don't cry. Like, I just like all of the characters now. So I'm excited to see the full film as opposed to a behind the scenes.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Do it.
Whew. All right, let's move on to the top 50 superhero movies of all time. It officially comes out on Collider Video. This Wednesday, November 1st, is when the first installment drops. Here's a quick look. Here's a sneak preview of the top 50 superhero movies of all time.
This movie is one of the most underrated movies of all time.
This is a really good comic book movie.
No, this is not the right number for this movie.
It works on so many different levels, not just as a translation of a great graphic novel.
There's something really special about seeing those characters come to life.
This could be the best villain we've seen ever.
I would call this probably the worst villain.
It's one of the best superhero films I've ever seen.
No, this is not a good movie.
We're going to talk about Batman v Superman, whether you like it or not.
You've got to look at the importance of what the movie did.
I don't think we can make a good Superman movie. I just think it's impossible.
I'm not 100% sure it should be on a superhero list.
It was a different kind of superhero.
This is a superhero story.
What is not super about them?
It's not just the Avengers or the Justice League. There's lots of them.
I've never seen anything done like this before.
You gotta see this movie.
That's baller. That's amazing.
November 1st is the big day, so set your calendars for Wednesday. Enjoy your sugar coma tomorrow night, and then check out the top 50 superhero movies alongside with us when it debuts. We also have an episode of Heroes coming out later on today, hosted by that guy. Will he be wearing his spectacles? Will he go glasses free? You're just going to have to wait to find out. We also have a Stranger Things Season 2 recap of every episode is now up on the channel, as well as our spoiler-free review of Thor Ragnarok. Don't worry, there's going to be plenty of fresh spoiler talk for Thor Ragnarok once you all get a chance to see the flick. Let's move on to mailbag. You guys can email us anytime, collidervideo@gmail.com. And then later on, we're going to get into some live Twitter questions. So go ahead and start tweeting us right now at collidervideo. Ashley, what is in our mailbag? Is it apropos for this time of year?
Well, Andy Walker writes, hey guys, so I've been reading an interview with Simon Pegg where he mentioned that he and Edgar Wright had joked about doing a Shaun of the Dead sequel entitled From Dusk Till Dawn. Personally, I got really excited at the thought of another Shaun of the Dead movie and was just wondering how excited the Collider crew would be for another Shaun of the Dead movie. And although Pegg says they were joking about it, could it ever actually happen if the fans and you guys talk enough about it? Thanks and keep up the good work.
Well, sorry, Andy. You might have overestimated our influence in the industry. We can talk day and night about that. Jeremy Johns and I were singing about a new Mortal Kombat movie that's actually good forever, and we're still waiting on that news. I don't think we will get a new Shaun of the Dead movie ever, but I would be a lot more up for that than it would be for Lethal Weapon 5, which you probably wouldn't have heard me say 10 or 15 years ago. That's the case now because I think Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, they still have so much creativity left in them, as well as with Nick Frost, too. I would love to see it. I think that it would not feel like the Lethal Weapon 5 going for a cash grab or just trying for one more run, because when you see the other films that Pegg and Frost and Edgar Wright worked on together, I think they all are tremendous in their own way. At World's End wasn't as funny as Shaun of the Dead, but some of the action in there really impressed me in that arena. So I would be up for it personally, Reilly. How would you feel?
I'd be up for it. And I tend to disagree a little bit about talking about it. I mean, yeah, we have no pull. We can't. They're going to do it whether they make the decisions, not us. However, if we talk about it and the fans talk about it and a lot of people start talking about it and it gets to them and they go, man, a lot of people are talking about this, Edgar. And they go, they really are, Simon. What do you want to do about it? I don't know. Here's an outline. It could happen. It could. If a lot of people talk about it, and it may be a couple of years down the line, they go, you know what? Let's get together. Let's do another one. It might be fun. I would love it if they do. The title alone is perfect. It's so perfect. In vampires, don't you want to see these guys have a pint at the Winchester and have to then fight vampires? Yes, you would. I'm going to answer your question. Yes, you do want to see it. I want to see it. Let's keep talking about it. Everybody start tweeting Edgar Wright now, and let's get From Dusk Till Dawn.
Ooh, I like that. I like that title anyway, and we do live in a world where Ava DuVernay saw something that she enjoyed on Twitter, and so now wants to make that movie. So maybe, Shep, maybe that's the way we all say goodbye to Twitter one day, because we're all getting sick of social media just a little bit. So maybe our final walk-off home run is getting Shaun of the Dead 2 made, and then we all quit and we go back to MySpace.
Well, I would go back to Friendster. I think From Dusk Till Dawn is an incredible title. Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite films that Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright made together. Out of their Cornetto trilogy, I think it's like you reverse it and you like that's the best one. Yeah. I would almost I would love it if they made a trilogy and then From Dusk Till Dawn was the second one. And it was like the first one was zombies, this one's vampires, and the last one is like maybe Frankenstein or werewolves or the creature from or like a smorgasbord of all of them. Who knows? But do I want that to happen? Sure, I would. If I heard it was happening tomorrow, I would rejoice until the day it came out, and I would be the first in line to see it. Does Edgar and Simon, do they want to do it? That's more of the question. It's like, it seems like Edgar's got a lot of other films that he wants to direct and stories to tell, and so does Simon Pegg. But they're great friends. I would love to see them work together again. They have great chemistry. They have a good working relationship. Sure, I would love to see From Dusk Till Dawn, and I will tweet out to Edgar Wright as well. Please make this in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I think a tweet-a-thon should happen.
Miss Mova, despite the fact that Shaun of the Dead is not based on a true crime event, do you think that it deserves a sequel?
Oh my God, I'm gonna get such shit for this. I don't like this movie. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I think that's fair to say.
It's not my kind of humor. It's not my kind of humor. So, but I know that a lot of people love it, so I could see it doing well, but it's not for me.
Is it you don't like spoof comedies where it's like making fun of stuff?
I feel like the time has passed for that spoof comedy kind of thing. It's just, it didn't make me laugh.
It's fair to say. Certainly the spoof genre has seen better days. I think that Shaun of the Dead, if you want to call it a spoof, I think it's got a lot more elements than that, but the spoof comedy in there is amongst the best that I've seen since the golden age of your airplanes and your top secrets and your Naked Guns and your Hot Shots. But Shaun of the Dead, I'd be up for another one, so I guess join Mark Reilly and John Schnepp's Twitter campaign, and let's get that movie made because we need something positive to happen.
When did you
on
see
Twitter.
it? Did you see it a long time ago, Ashley?
I actually saw it recently. I saw it maybe like 3-ish years ago.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we had a bunch of our Schmoes crew go to a screening of it Thursday. I was going to go, but I had a flight out. I had a red eye, so I couldn't make it. But they had a great time. They had some cast there. And so it's still a movie that is celebrated, that is still in the pop culture consciousness, especially around this time of year. So I think it would do well. If you put Shaun of the Dead 2 and you put it next to Lethal Weapon 5 in a theater, Shaun of the Dead 2 is making more money that weekend. Take it to the bank. Speaking of the bank. There's no transition there.
Twitter. Is it time for the Twitter?
Twitter's a $1 billion industry, so
It
they
is.
go to the bank a lot.
Oh, wow. There it is. There it is.
Right. By the skin of my teeth, we move on to live Twitter questions. Do we have any questions that are better than my clumsy segue?
Maybe. Over 9K writes, y'all, it's All Hallows Eve. If you had to die through the means of a movie monster or psycho... It's terrible that I picked this question. If you had to die through the means of a movie monster or psycho, who and how?
I love this question on All Hallows Eve or any other day of the year because, as I've probably brought up on this show, the real way I want to die is at the hands of a great white shark. I would love to get eaten by a great white shark. It is the best way to go out. Whether that shark would be the Jaws the Revenge one, where it swam all the way down to the Bahamas just to get a little old Mark Ellis, I'd be up for that. If it wasn't the shark from Jaws, then I am going to take the obvious answer, but it's also somebody who I feel a kinship with, and that'd be Freddy Krueger. I think that if Freddy Krueger killed me, I'd be okay with it because I love sleeping. I love taking naps. I am asleep a lot. If you tell me there's this crazed killer out there that can only get you in your dreams, I'm not staying awake for that. I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to take the risk because I believe in myself. I'm pretty fast. I don't know if I can run fast in dreams, but I think I could take on Freddy at least as he's stabbing me with his claw. I want to make him laugh because he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor. I feel like maybe he could recruit me as like an undead writer for him so I can help him come up with all those witty quips that he says when he's killing all those kids on Elm Street, Reilly.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I support that.
I think we'd be partners.
And so I'll go to his arch nemesis, Jason. I will take Jason. I'll be at camp. I will be the second to last to go because I will do something heroic to make sure that the final girl gets away in order to get all her weapons and everything for the final showdown in which the final girl does kill Jason. But I'm that guy that goes, don't worry, go on without me. And then I take on Jason. We do like a few rounds, and then I'm probably getting a machete to the face. I mean, that's Jason. It's going to be the woods. He's a zombie now, and he's strong, and you can't kill him. You can only just kind of stop him for a little bit. So Jason.
Okay, so Schnepp, I used my death as a way to have a undead comedy writer career.
Right.
Riley used his, so that clearly they're going to be building a statue to him at Camp Crystal Lake. Who do you want to kill you?
All right, so here we go.
Oh, the glasses are off.
I'm on a plane. I'm sitting right next to Jar Jar. We're having a conversation. I'm not really understanding what he's saying. I'm saying, Misa, what? I don't understand. I can't understand Gungan. Suddenly, the plane starts lurching strangely. We're like, all the lights flickering. They go out. We're both, when the lights come on, Michael Myers is standing in front of us, and he grabs both of us, slams us against the ceiling, and opens the emergency airlock, and holding onto both of us, throws us off the plane while still holding onto us. So me and Jar Jar and Michael Myers are flying through the air towards our death. At that moment, Michael Myers takes out a knife and starts stabbing both Jar Jar and I repeatedly so that I see Jar Jar die before I actually die. And then all three of us, including Jar Jar's limp, dead body, fly into the Sarlacc pit, and we are eaten by the Sarlacc.
So you are going to have one moment there with Michael Myers where you're like, hey, dude, that was pretty cool what you did to Jar Jar.
I would be like, bro, good dude. And then, you did a good job. Yeah, good job. Yeah, and then Sarlacc.
Can we film this?
Yes.
Can we make this?
Yeah.
This is a fan film, but in the best way. This is like everything. This is universe coming together. I want to direct
Misa,
this.
think you're a good idea.
I think that Catherine Bigelow is the perfect choice because she did some pretty good job shooting those Point Break aerial scenes when they're all coming down. So instead of shooting that at the daytime, you shoot it at nighttime. Then you also have, she did Zero Dark 30, so there's like night jumping in there. I think that's the perfect choice. Actually, Catherine Bigelow directed a little movie called Point Break, which I highly recommend you check out at some point in your life that is going to be ended by a slasher in a movie. Who is
That
it?
it is. I'm going Jigsaw, guys. Even though I was let down by this last movie, I feel like it'd be fun because he wants to play a game, and I would like to die playing a game.
Do you think if the four of us were in a Jigsaw game, who's surviving the most?
Oh,
Now,
well,
I've
I
never
think-
seen a Jigsaw movie, so maybe I'm a little...
Oh, you're definitely out. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
But then Jigsaw's going to want to pass it down to me, and I'm going to become the new Jigsaw because he tends to do that.
I think Reilly survives almost as long, but you're the one who wins. I die, but Ellis dies before me. So
Okay.
And Jigsaw,
Okay.
all four of us are like chained up. We're like,
can do
what's
that.
happening? And then Ellis will instantly die.
You
He's
just
like,
have
I'm
to
not
play
playing
by
this
the
game.
rules.
Yeah, just instantly neck snap.
Really? That's all
Yeah.
you want to play? Well, you know what? Maybe I swim to the game and I don't even make it there because the great white shark got me. That's the noise a great white shark makes.
Are you on a raft? Are you like asking your mom that you can go out a little bit longer, just a little longer?
I don't want to do that to my mom. I'd rather her get like I'd rather there's a knock on my mom's door and it's the shark from Saturday Night Live delivering the news. That,
Pizza delivery.
I ate your son.
one more Twitter question and we will call it a day.
Okay. Greg Dopp writes, what true life story of the century would you like seen turned into a movie a la Tarantino's upcoming Manson pick?
Well, can it be any true story in the last 100 years, or does it have to be some sort of true crime?
Not crime. He
situation?
didn't say crime.
He
so I
didn't
didn't
say
pick a
crime, but that's
murder-
where my mind went.
But a la
It could
Charles
be
Manson.
anything.
So he's, it's hinting at true crime here.
The true crime people think that you have to go down the true crime.
There's a lot of crazy people you can explore. I would like to revisit the shooting of John Lennon, the tragic death of the Beatle John Lennon. They've done movies like that, and I think even Jared Leto played the character Mark David Chapman. But it's an interesting story, and I haven't seen that flick, but I want to get into all of the things that John Lennon had going on in his life, all of the government things that he was involved with, all the protesting, but also the fact that he and Yoko were really looking forward to a new decade of the 1980s and what the kind of promise that held. So I think I'd be up for more of an exploration into John Lennon versus just how crazy Mark David Chapman was. Schnepp?
I'm going to pick a biopic on Carl Sagan, one of the greatest living human beings who died, unfortunately, because we're all going to die. And I think he gave us so much in the world of science. If you've never seen his series Cosmos, do yourself a favor, Demon Haunted World. There's so many amazing things that you could learn from Carl Sagan. And being a Saganist, I strongly want to see that.
I'm glad there was a G in there and not a T. Reilly?
Well, that's an Oscar movie right there, man. I like that. But I'm going true crime. We got to stick here, and it's Halloween. The Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. I know they did like a Lifetime movie with Lou Diamond Phillips, and it was pretty good. But I want to see like a Fincher. I want to see like a really gritty portrait of Richard Ramirez, because he was around it was 1985. I was 10 years old. I was freaking out because he killed a family like literally 2 miles from my house, and I started sleeping with a baseball bat.
Wow.
This is how like close he got. He went all over San Francisco, LA, Orange County, and just back and forth. Stayed at the Hotel Cecil. Allegedly had blood all over him from victims, and then took it all off, threw it in the dumpster, and walked into the Hotel Cecil in his underwear. And everybody there was shady, and they're just like, oh, that's just Richard. And there's so much to this story that I think you could get a really fascinating true crime Fincher, like Zodiac flavor, but like bring in maybe some Quentin Tarantino action with the dialogue, and because there's so many supporting characters. The chase at the end, I mean, this guy was brought down by some good Samaritans who saw him and went, that's the Night Stalker, and then ran all through LA and then just beat him with a metal pipe to get him to stop killing. I want to see this movie.
beat him to death with their own shoes.
They did not beat him to death. They just beat him to stop him.
Well, I just wanted to quote Wayne's World too.
Oh, okay.
Ashley, you have the final word on this. I know you're a fan of a lot of these, like, this serial and podcasts like that. Is there some sort of story that's going on right now that you're just so enraptured by you want it to be a movie?
I gotta go with Serial. It's the podcast that got me into this psychotic true crime loving. And last I heard, actually, Christopher Miller and Phil Lord actually had the rights to it, but I'm not sure if it's actually going to be turned into a movie. I'd love to see that come to fruition because it's happening in real time, and a lot of people loved it. It was a huge podcast.
The first step to having a problem and curing that problem is...
I've been mending it now. It's fine.
I'm very proud of you. The brave Ashley Mova. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this healing episode of Collider Movie Talk on All Hallows Eve. I want to thank the crew for showing up here, as well as everybody on the panel with me. Mr. John Schnepp, where can the kids find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp. Watch Heroes later today and go to my Kickstarter. I'm making a What If Batman Joined the Fantastic Four comic book. It's called 5. Check it out.
Love it. Mark Reilly, let's say that Jason Voorhees is watching this right now and he wants to kill you on Halloween. Where can he find you?
He can tweet at me, at Reilly Around on Twitter and Instagram. I'll see you there, Jason. Bring it.
Ooh.
Ashley Mova, where can Jigsaw get more information on you?
I'm scared. You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, Ashley Mova. Happy Monday, guys.
Happy Monday indeed. And if you are Fred Krueger and you're watching this right now, I'm going to be the Syracuse Funny Bone this weekend. So come on out. Let's have some yucks. And then if you want to murder me in your sleep, you have at it, you clawed freak. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow for a special Halloween episode where I will attempt to dress up. We don't know how it's going to go. Tune in to Collider Video.
Welcome to the
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.